What's up, mortals? It's Dante from the Anime Underworld, and today we don't have a new chapter. I'm sorry. We are on another break. I don't know why, just it's another break. So, with nothing else to do, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about, of course, Lancelot, the god of war. Lancelot has been gone for a long time, and he came back in the nick of time to save his best friends from the chaotic Four Perils. So I thought it would be a good time to talk about what Lancelot has been doing, where the story is going to go forward from here after such an epic clash out against the Four Perils, and talk about something that probably is going to make some of you Lancelot fans very mad at me. Low warning in advance. If you love 7 Deadly Sins and 4 Knights of the Apocalypse material, subscribe for more content coming your way, and be expecting the manga review next week. With that in mind, let's get into the video. Lancelot has finally returned, while his comrades of the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse were not exactly doing so great, especially Tristan. Now looking like he came back from a Japanese school anime, the question is, where exactly was he all this time? While we were spending, how long were we on this arc? I forgot how long this dang thing was. Battling out in a tournament in hopes of defeating Bellatrip. Where was Lancelot? What was he doing? Well, chapter 205, at least this color spread, might imply that he was with Guinevere. And yes, this is probably going to make a lot of fans moan. Like, seriously? While everyone was getting some weird character and power-up developments, you were out scooch hunting. I mean, Guinevere did actually say that when Lancelot was 18, the Four Knights are 18 at this point, he would come to visit her. And this color page just basically confirmed it. Lancelot was with Guinevere. What they were doing, I have no idea. Hopefully it wasn't doing you-know-what, and was actually doing something useful. Although I am curious, before that happened, what was going on with him and Camelot's knights, because he made enough to make a giant golem. He killed enough holy knights to make a giant golem from Warlandane, who, by the way, said that she was dealing with the quote-unquote god of war, which we know is Lancelot. If I could get into theorist territory here, I predict that this is what happened. Lancelot and Guinevere finally met up. Hopefully nothing icky happened, cause oh god. But Warlandane, under the command of King Arthur, checked up on her and discovered that Lancelot was in her bedroom. So Warlandane, chased out one of the freaking Knights of the Apocalypse to protect the Queen, and Lancelot with Hazy Moon was able to put up a big fight against the White Knight. The fight probably would have ended badly for Warlandane if it wasn't for Bellatrip. A reminder that Bellatrip used the connection that they all share with Chaos to communicate that, hey, come down to Anafwin and lend me a hand. So I'm curious if the fight ended in a draw or if it was just a mutual surrender or something. Regardless, Lancelot probably knew his friends were in trouble because, well, Lancelot can read minds. I keep forgetting that Lancelot can do this. I hope he doesn't read my mind. There are so many dark things he should not know of. So as for why Lancelot came out of nowhere, it's probably because he overheard Warlandane, at least in her head, talking about Bellatrip and coming to Anafwin for help. That definitely spelled out that his friends were there, and of course we got the epic clash with Lancelot returning against the chaotic form of the Four Perils. Not sure what's going to happen in chapter 206 when you consider that Lancelot is not done with the Four Perils after the epic butt whooping, but it is time to leave Anafwin. Because, as Lancelot pointed out throughout chapter 205, it's not that his friends were ill prepared, they have a lot of potential, it's just that they were badly matched up. So the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse are going to have to train to fight against the chaotic Four Perils. In this lineup, Tristan versus Warlandane. The Nephilim training hard to use his demonic power and full counter against the White Knight and her rapid-fire succession spell casting. Percival versus Pelgard. His regeneration to outmatch Pelgard's new Herculean strength. Our girl Gawain using her brute force and magic against Ironside's weird multiple limbs and his control over spirits. And of course, Lancelot versus Bellatrip. The speedster with hazy moon versus the Green Knight and his ability to slash anything. These are the fights that we as fans have to look forward to after Anafwin. But after what happened, Percival, Gawain, and Tristan need to get out of there, lick their wounds, and prepare for the next fight. So this could lead into some solo training arcs. Hopefully, I'm just spitballing here, that these knights get individual solo arcs. We all know what Tristan's deal is, you know, demon blood, Nephilim, unity, blah 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 blah. Maybe Mael can come and help him because he was the closest thing to a Nephilim. But you also have Gawain, who needs to understand where she came from, what her origin is, and from what we've seen after the whole fight with Balin, possibly find a way to mix up her magical spells. Use the knowledge of magic casting, all the spells she knows, with her power, Dawn. Like, imagine Gawain at full charge. She's about to attack Ironside with what could be assumed to be a flaming fist, but it's a flaming fist mixed with ice magic. You know, mixing in her sun abilities with other magical spells. This is what Merlin did when she mixed illusion magic with elemental magic. Not sure what our boy Percival has in store for him and what he can do. He's pretty strong on his own. So I'm not entirely sure what our boy can actually do. Now that he has his own sacred treasure and his power is, you know, crazy enough as it is, there's nothing much that I can say about him. But maybe he could help his friends, you know, and 𝐼𝐶𝐬𝐿 and Donnie, especially Donnie. Donnie has been so useless. He's the Usopp of the group. Poor boy can lift a mountain, and yet he was so useless during the tournament arc. He was essentially Percival's emotional support pet. 𝐼𝐶𝐬𝐿, much like Tristan, needs to balance out the other half of what she is, and that is giant. 𝐼𝐶𝐬𝐿 needs to remember that they are not just half fairy, they are also half giant. Work in some earth magic spells, why don't you? And then you got Anne, whose power is evolving. Remember, she could only tell who was lying. Then she became a literal enforcer of truth. Maybe Percival can help her evolve her magic to the next step. This girl really needs some new offensive abilities now that they all have sacred treasures. Curious as to what her truth magic could evolve to. Maybe truth bombs? If you lie, you explode? That could be what Percival is doing. Rather than improving himself, he offers to improve his friends. And as for Lancelot, let's face it, this kid is OP. He doesn't need more training. He's going to be helping with training. He's going to be helping his friends in understanding their powers because, let's face it, he's the true brains of the group. With that in mind though, it's time to piss off a lot of Lancelot fans and... okay, I'm just gonna rip it off like a band-aid. I think Lancelot needs to lose.
Boo this man!
Yeah, boo me all you want, but it is the truth. I speak truth to this fact that Lancelot, no matter how cool, no matter how powerful he is, no matter how much you love him, you have to admit, he really needs to take an L once in a while. Even Meliodas, the guy who was just as powerful in the original series, if not more so, was able to have a hard time every now and then. He lost. Remember the time that he died? Remember the time he went full force against Escanor and still lost? He had trouble against his father, and Lancelot? It's mostly just win after win. Much like Meliodas, his OP, very destructive, all-powerful magic really should need a handicap. Give Lancelot something to struggle for, instead of just effortlessly defeating the enemies. He's his friend's crutch when things get too bad. They had a hard time defeating Melagallon, but if Lancelot was there, he probably could have taken them down easily. So it pains me to say, but something bad really needs to happen to Lancelot. Yeah, he's the god of war, but if you were a villain, and you know who the strongest member of your enemy team is, wouldn't you want to, cripple them? I'm not saying break his legs, but, weaken his OP magic, find a way to make him weaker? Sadly, that's how I feel about Lancelot going forward. If the story is going to make sure that all members of the four Knights of the Apocalypse stand on equal footing, Lancelot sadly needs to take some sort of L. Give him a challenge that is going to be detrimental to his character. Look at the other knights. They're working their butts off and Lancelot is just going through it all effortlessly and smugly about it. That's not exactly fair. But hey, that's just my theory. Not sure if 𝐿 has any plans for Lancelot like that. I highly doubt it, but you never know. What do you think is going to happen with Lancelot and the four knights going forward? What will happen to the god of war? What did he do before arriving to save his friends? We'll have to find out in chapter 206 next week. This has been Dante from the Anime Underworld, and I'll see you mortals later.